If you're trying to buy an investment property in South Orange County right now, you probably ran the numbers and thought, how is this even going to work? The median Orange County home closed at $1.49 million in June. Rents are strong, but they're not $1.49 million strong. So the cash flow math looks brutal on paper. But here's the thing, investors still buy here. Let me show you what the game really looks like. I'm Paul Wolfe with Real Broker. I work with buyers, sellers, and investors across Irvine and Orange County. This video is not a pitch, a conversation I'll have with every investor client before they write their first offer. Stick around to the end because the part that most people get wrong is not the house, it's the timeline. Let's start with honest numbers because everything else depends on them. Irvine is averaging $1.65 million on a house, up a few percent year over year. Rancho Mission Viejo is running in the $1.2 million range. Boulder, Mission Viejo, and Lake Forest give you a lot more room, and that's where a lot of investment is actually happening. Now on the rent side, a 3-bedroom can clear $5,700 a month in Irvine. Mission Viejo single families are averaging around $4,000. Lake Forest is averaging around $2,700, but that includes condos and apartment. Financing. Conventional investment loans are running around 6.5%. DSCR loans, which qualify based on the property and not your W-2, are running between 6.5% and 8%. But that depends on your credit, your leverage, and your prepay structure. If you run that through a spreadsheet, here's what you get. Most Orange County rentals don't cash flow on day one with standard down payment. Cap rates in this market typically sit between the 3 and 4% range. So why does anybody buy here? There's 4 reasons. 1, supply is structurally capped. We have an ocean on one side, a national forest on the other, and a build-out that's nearly finished. Rancho Mission Viejo is one of the last master planned engines left, and even that has a finish line. You cannot manufacture more in South Orange County. 2, the tenant pool is exceptional. You are renting to households working in medical, tech, biotech, and professional services. Vacancy is low and turnover risk is lower than almost any market in the country. That is worth real money that never shows up in a cap rate. 3, rent growth is protected on the upside. Under California's Tenant Protection Act, AB 1482, the maximum allowable increase is 8.7%, taking effect on or around August 1st, 2026. That's a cap, not a target, and market rents are only growing 1 to 3% right now. But it means the ceiling is far above where the market currently sits. 4, Prop 13. Once you buy, your assessed value is locked to your purchase price, with increases capped at 2% per year. Your biggest fixed expense becomes predictable for as long as you own it. In a market with rising rents, that gap widens in your favor every year. The play here is not month 1 cash flow. It's a property that breaks close to even, gates in a supply-starved market, and gets more profitable every year you hold it. Here's the actual sequence. Step 1, finance before shopping. Talk to a lender who does investment loans, not just primary residences. Ask about conventional 25% down DSCRs. And if you're willing to live in it for a year, low down payment, owner-occupied financing for a 2 to 4 unit. The last one is the single best entry point for most new investors to consider. Step 2, build your buy box. Price ceiling, minimum bedrooms, HOA and Mello-Roos tolerance, and how much work you're willing to do. That Mello-Roos piece matters enormously down here. Ladera Ranch, Talega, and Rancho Mission Viejo can carry special tax assessments that can meaningfully change your monthly number. A newer home is not automatically a better investment. Step 3, underwrite before you fall in love. Rent comps, HOA and Mello-Roos, insurance, property tax at your new assessed value, vacancy, maintenance, and management. Insurance deserves its own conversation in the wildfire areas east of I-5 and up into the canyons. Step 4, offer and contingency strategy. In California, you're typically working with inspection, appraisal, and loan contingencies that have defined timelines. Those windows protect your earnest money deposit. Never remove a contingency that you've never actually satisfied. Step 5, due diligence. General inspection, sewer scope on anything older, HOA document review, and a recent survey. This is where you renegotiate or walk. Step 6, close and lease up. Have your lease, screening criteria, and management plan ready before you close. Every vacant week is money you don't get. This is where South Orange County beats a lot of cash flow markets. The One Big Beautiful Bill Act made 100% bonus depreciation permanent for qualifying property placed in service after January 19, 2025. Paired with a cost segregation study, you can pull appliances, flooring, fixtures, fencing, paving, and landscaping out of the 27.5-year schedule and deduct them up front. On a $1.3 million property, that is a meaningfully larger deduction than the same strategy on a $200,000 rental in another state. High basis is a disadvantage on cash flow, but it's an advantage on depreciation. Then there's a 1031 exchange, which lets you roll your gains forward into your next property instead of writing a check to the IRS. Most of the intermediate clients are not buying their first rental. I'm not a CPA, so run one of these strategies by yours before you count on them. Here's what an agent that works with investors does for you. and has nothing to do with unlocking doors. I tell you which Orange County neighborhoods are renting well and which ones look great but sit vacant. I know which HOAs restrict rentals or impose minimum lease terms, which is a deal killer people discover after closing. I know which tracks carry Mello-Roos and what it'll cost you. I can have the lender, the inspector, the contractor, the CPA, and the property manager already lined up for you. And I bring you the pre and on-market inventory that helps give you a chance to compete in the open market. The wrong property in the right city will underperform for a decade. The right property in a boring city will quietly build wealth. Knowing the difference is entirely my job. So if you've been sitting on capital, watching the market, and waiting for the numbers to magically get better, let me save you some time. They're not going to. What changes is your strategy. Send me an address you're curious about, and I'll run the numbers for you. No cost, no pressure, no sales pitch. Just the real numbers on a real property in this market. You can reach me at 949-289-9545 or at paul@paulwolfoc.com. I'm Paul Wolfe with Real Broker. Let's talk soon.